afternoon, but I can do that quick. Okay, I mean you can do that. We can look at it together. I think the thing we'll do is this. So you see an opportunity. Let me do this. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's. That everybody can see that, yes? Okay, good. All right, so here we go. The terms and conditions. So we would say, so this is an example, but let's just do this, okay? So in an email, we would say, um, you know, let's say the realtor's name is John. John, I am interested in putting a offer on so and so property. So and so 123 B Street. 123 Main Street. Okay? Okay, Main Street. So I am interested in putting an offer on blah, 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 Main Street, okay? Bad spelling in the first paragraph. The offer is conditional upon the buyer. We'll get there. Event conflict terms purchase. I don't know what you're saying right now, but that's okay. The terms and conditions schedule letter shall prevail in the event. Event. Apologies there. Event. The event of a conflict with terms and conditions of the attached agreement, purchase or sale. Okay, so scheduled letter, and let's say this would be Schedule A. Okay, this would be Schedule A. So, in the terms and conditions of Schedule A should prevail in the event of a conflict with the terms and conditions of the attached agreement of purchase of sale. So that's okay. That's okay. So what this is saying basically is, look, because I want this attached. I want this attached to the offer to purchase agreement. Okay, I want it attached. So I'm interested in putting an offer on 123 Main Street. 123 Main Street. The offer the offer is or will be, this is what I want you to do, will be, and you put the amount. So let's say amount, okay? Offer be this amount. If the seller is open to a VTB, seller financing, and you could use we would be willing to offer this, okay, amount, okay? So this is a greater amount, okay? 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 Breaking up a bit because where my hands are. Okay, so I'm interested in putting an offer on 123 Main Street. The offer will be $150,000. If the seller is open to a VTB, the seller financing, we would be willing to offer $175,000. Okay? Okay? Please attach the below conditions to your standard offer to purchase contract. For us to sign and send back. Or you can just say for us to sign. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions, any additional questions. You put that on the bottom of the email, okay? So this is what we got. nothing's going to change except the amount and the seller financing. So let's look at the one that you're talking about, okay? So you said that you have a property that you're interested in, yes? So what is the offer price on that property that you were looking at? $225. Okay. So let's say we run the numbers, and let's say that we come up with the amount of 200 and 211,000 $423. Okay. And if they do the seller financing for the amount of, we would be willing to give them an amount of, now we're going to go higher, right? Now, obviously, we run the numbers on this, but you can just, it's not as important as you think, really. After you run the numbers, you got to know it's a deal. You can go 200 and 17 227. Okay, so what they're seeing is, I'm interested in offering on 123 Main Street. The offer will be $211,423. If the seller is open to VTV seller financing, we'd be willing to offer $217,000, which is basically another $5,000. Let's say, okay, because we ran the numbers and this works. Please attach the below conditions to your standard offer purchase contract for us to sign. So here, the terms and conditions of Schedule A. So there's an offer to purchase standard contract. It's different, slightly different in every province, but at the end of the day, they have a standard one that the realtors use. That's the one that you're going to use. Even if you're putting out the offer, you can use the standard offer to purchase. You just need to attach, these conditions need to be attached onto the contract, okay? And this one is very important, right? Because it's saying, look, if there's a conflict with anything in the previous, in the first few pages of the offer contract, the Schedule A is going to basically win out. And this additional agreement that we're putting on attached to the contract is called Schedule A. So Schedule A, this is going to be example. So we would call this, say, Schedule A. Okay? A. Okay? Okay, so Schedule A. Okay, so the offer is conditional upon being satisfied with the statement of income and expenses. Now, if there is no income and expenses verification because it's not an income property, you can take that out, okay? The offer is conditional upon the buyer being satisfied with all the information pertaining to the tenants. Again, no tenants, that wouldn't be included. The seller agrees to cooperate in providing access to the property. That one's staying. The offer is conditional upon inspection of the property. That one's staying. The offer is conditional on the buyer arranging at his own expense satisfactory insurance coverage to him or her said property by date failing of which it shall be null and void, and the deposit shall be returned to the buyer in full without deduction. The offer is conditional upon the approval of the terms herein after the buyer's partner is a solicitor. Basically, my partner and my solicitor has to see it. The offer is conditional upon the buyer obtaining at his own expense satisfactory financing for the said property in or before the following, which date shall be null and void, and the deposit, as you can see, the deposit is returned without deduction or penalty. The seller agrees to that vendor take back. Now this is where we put the vendor take back. The vendor take back, let's say, is 50,000. So you would do whatever percentage is in there, right? Whatever amount is. So let's say it's 50,000. So 50,000 bearing the rate of 6%, fixed interest only for the term of, only for a 5-year term, okay, 5 years, 30-year amortization, amortization with a balloon payment in 5 years, right? Because the term is 5 years, upon which is extended for another, say, 5 years. Okay, so there we go. That would basically be, and then at the bottom we would put, please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any further questions. That's it. That's how you start it, right there. Any questions? Anyone? It's not, this is literally what you would put in the email. Part of my problem was after the closing date came, the insurance and the financing conditions were not met due to the failure of the property. But I had done inspection of 2 properties and electrical inspection by then spending. What? I'm not sure what that says. Conditions were not met due to the failure of the property, but I had done inspections of 2 properties and the electrical inspection by then spending $1,800. Is that what you're saying, Charles? Okay. All right. So I don't know why it was $1,800. Maybe it was, I'm assuming it was $900 a unit or whatever you were looking at. The inspection, yeah, the inspection, you know, the inspection doesn't have to be paid by you, Charles. It can be paid by the seller. You know, if the seller, you could say to the seller, you could, if that's a concern for you, the inspection, you know, the cost of the inspection, you could say to the seller, look, we'll ask you to do the inspection and we'll pay on top of that. You could do that, right? It's not, you don't have to be the one that does the inspection. Do you understand the cost of the inspection? But $1,800 for 2 inspections, were they commercial property? Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right, Charles. That's right. If it's a commercial building, and you know that could be created. Now, things like appraisals can be done by the lender. If it's commercial, typically you're paying for that. You could also have the insurance company itself want to come down and look at the property and inspect the property. But an inspection has to be done. We have to avoid, you know, getting into bad properties. Now, if a property's in rough shape, you know, and it's a challenge, or you're concerned about that, Charles, what you can say to the seller is, look, the inspection, I'm going to ask you to pay for the inspection, you know, because once they run the inspection and it's theirs to own, right? They keep it. They can, you know, if you don't buy, they can use that or submit it to someone else to say, here's the current inspection that was done on so and so date. But the seller can pay for the inspection too, right? So you could say, Charles, look, I'm going to ask you, because of the state of the property and the way it looks, I'm going to ask you to pay for the inspection, and we're going to add that to the purchase price. As long as everything else meets its conditions, we're more than happy to pay for that inspection. But if the inspection fails, you know, we're not going to pay for that inspection. Does that make sense, Charles? Yeah. None of these conditions or costs, I mean, it's just contract law, right? I mean, these expenses, closing costs, lawyer fees, anybody can pay them. There's no law that says that you have to pay for those ones, or you can agree to anything. It's just, you know, more common that the buyer pays for the inspection because they're trying to protect themselves. Now, when you're getting into these expenses, Charles, and I paid my fair share of inspections and costs, and when you do get into commercial, I can totally understand. It can get costly, you know, as well as appraisals and stuff. You can ask the seller to do that and just say, look, as long as you meet the conditions, everything in here, I'll be more than happy to pay it. I'll be more than happy to pay for that, as long as you know, it passes, you know, and they get to keep the inspection, right? It's the inspection, you know, the inspection, everything that's been done by the inspector, they get to keep as their own. Does that make sense, Charles? And that to everyone else. You can ask anything. I mean, the worst that someone can say is no. Yes, I still have it, and he doesn't. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well, you could do that. You could do that. I mean, it's a legitimate. If it was a legitimate, you know, inspection, you know, it's not like the seller can hide anything that's wrong with the house. I mean, the inspection was done, but they could submit that inspection as to someone else, as saying to them that this is the most current inspection. He is in denial of the lousy shape of the property. Well, you know, that's possible too, Charles. That's possible too. So what I'd like to do is I'd like everybody to consider putting one of these out this week. Can everybody consider doing that? You're right, Charles. That's probably why they left you. All we're saying is, look, just write an email, say I'm interested in your property, you know, and just so you know, folks, you don't have to put this part in the email if you don't want. You know, you could just put, you know, this part up here. I'm interested in offering on 123 Main Street. The offer will be $211.47. The seller is open to VTB. Seller financing, we'd be willing to offer blah, blah, blah. Please let me know if you have any further questions, you know. Or you can just say, send me an offer to purchase. Send me an offer to purchase contract for us to sign. You don't have to say, please attach the below conditions. You can start with just, I'm interested in your property. This is the price I'd like to offer you. This is the VTB attached to the below. Sorry, you don't have to say attached below. You can just say, please send the attached offer to purchase contract for us to sign. That's it, you know, or an offer to purchase contract. You don't even have to put that in, but I would at least like you to start doing this. I'm interested in putting an offer on 123 Main Street. The offer will be $211. The seller, the VTB will be, you know, blah, blah, blah. Please let me know if you have any questions. Can everybody at least do that part? You don't have to put in this extra part. You know, this is a more, you know, immediate, you know, put these terms and conditions. If you feel like these terms, because those terms and conditions got to go in, but you can break this up into two responses, right? Two steps. One is, I'm interested in putting an offer on the property. This is the offer. Because they could come back and say, look, you know, we can't do a VTB and we can't accept 211. We'd like to, you know, 215 or whatever it is, you know, whatever it is. But you're at least starting the process. Now, if someone sends you, if a realtor sends you a property, okay? Does anybody have any questions about this so far, right? This is what I want you to do. I want you to do just one of these, just one. Just one. I'll even give you 2 weeks, okay? But just one. 2 weeks. Just one email that says I'm interested in your property after you ran the numbers. Is everybody okay with that? Can everybody commit to that? Okay, good. Is anybody being given properties from a realtor? Is anybody being given properties from a realtor? Like a realtor sending you properties? Or someone sending you properties? Okay, so if a realtor sends you properties and you run the numbers, and the numbers don't make sense, what do you say to that realtor? Okay, I have a website I can put comments on. Okay, so thank you for the information on 123 Main Street. Currently, the numbers will not allow us to move forward on this property, on this listing. That being said, if you come across properties that require a quick close and cap and or rates of 7 or higher, we would be more than happy to review those opportunities. So what we're doing, and you can put whatever you want in there, what we're doing is what we're doing is we're trying to let them know, look, we appreciate, thank you for the information on 123. Currently, the numbers will not allow us to move forward on this listing. If you come across properties that require quick close and or cap rates of 7 or higher, we'd be more than, comma there, we'd be more than happy to review those opportunities. What are you doing here? What are you doing? Why do we do that? Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I know, Jean. That's and this is what we don't want to do. Look, there's going to be tons of properties that don't meet the conditions, right? But the idea, Jean, is to not waste time on those, right? So if you run the numbers and you think you have an opportunity, send one of these out. If you don't, move on to the next property. You know what I mean? I just don't want you to waste time. At the same time, when you're dealing with a realtor, you want to establish a relationship. You want to say to them, look, if you send me properties that have A, B, and C conditions, I'd be more than happy to review them, because you don't want to just get them sending you everything. You don't want them sending you everything. Most properties, just on list price and income, you can already establish whether you should be wasting time. That's GRM. This is why it's important for us to use GRM. It's so you don't waste time. I can't, and I'm telling this to everybody, I can't tell you you're not going to have to go through tons of properties, and review them quickly. But I can say to you, if you do this right, you will not waste time on garbage. You will not waste time on properties that can't make you money. Does everybody see where I'm coming from? That's all I'm trying to do. And I want you to be active enough and confident enough, to be able to send those offers out. Okay? That's what I want. That's what I want you to send out offers. I want you to hear no and be okay with it. I want you to, get an offer. Somebody says to you, yeah, we'll do this. And then they send you back a contract, and they have this schedule attached to it, and you're like, holy smokes, what do I do now? How do I deal with this? What do I do now? And, at that point, obviously I'll help you out. Your trainers will, your mentors will help you out. But this is the step of the process that you want to get comfortable with. Because if you don't put out offers, you can't do deals. Right? That makes sense, right? So what I can do as an example, this will be an example email. So let's put example. Let me spell example right. Example, and we're going to put email. Somehow my cats got example. Okay, so example, email. Okay, so this is an email. Okay, and this would be email to realtor. For no deal. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So can everybody commit to just doing one of these in the next 2 weeks? That's all. Hold on one sec. I'm going to call this example. Let's save it. second. Okay, so this is the email. This is the one the document. I just put it as an example. So you guys can download that. So here's the process, okay? We see a listing, okay? We run the GRM on it. Everybody with me? We run the GRM on it. If the GRM, let's just make it a rule right now, okay? If the GRM is double digits, let's say 12. If the GRM is 12, don't bother to run in the numbers, okay? Everybody with me? If the GRM is 12, don't run the numbers, okay? So run the GRM. If the GRM is below 12, then run the numbers. Everybody with me? So step one is, I see the property, I run the GRM. GRM will take you 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Everybody remember the GRM, yes? Any questions about GRM? It's okay to ask. It's all right. Does everybody remember GRM? Gross rent multiplier. Okay, okay, we'll do it again. It's all right. Does everybody have this file? Okay, so look, and this is why it's so important. GRM, gross rent multiplier, okay, takes purchase price divided by gross income for the year. Okay? So let's say that the purchase price is $100,000 and my gross income is $10K for the year. My GRM would be what? It would be 10. Okay? Everybody see that? Yeah. Yep. So why is it so important to have a good GRM? Well, let's just say here, I want to show you why. Even 12 is a stretch, but I don't want you to not do anything. So look, if my GRM on 100K purchase price of 100K, okay, that's my GRM, okay, that means that my gross rent equals 10K. Everybody with me? Right? 6 is actually the preferred number. 6. That's okay. 7's good. Okay, look. Automatically, because I have no expenses yet. I have no expenses. So automatically, if I take expenses and I minus 50%, 5K, okay, 50%, what's that leave me? That leaves me 5K, okay? Now just look at that. If 5K is my net operating income, that's after expenses, what is my cap rate? What's my cap rate? Who could tell me? Yeah, my cap rate is 5. Now, how hard is it going to be for us to even make that work? I mean, we can still do it with creative financing, right? But 5 cap rate, that's right on the edge. So you know what? I'm going to change this because I don't want to get into too deep with creative financing at this point. If you can't get a 10 or better, forget about it. If your GRM is not 10 or better, forget 12, because at 12 we'd have to do some serious creative financing. I don't want to get into it right now. Okay? What I want you to do is, I don't want you to waste time. So if the GRM is 10 or lower, run the numbers. Okay? That'll give you around a 5% cap rate. Okay? 5 cap rate. Now, we don't know that exactly because we don't have the expenses. I'm assuming 50% is gone automatically. Okay? And we don't want to waste time. So when you get that 5% cap rate, that's when I would like you to 5 cap rate and start running creative financing numbers. As for the expenses, as for the income, stuff like that. That's what I want you to do. Okay? So 10 GRM, we'll run the numbers on it. Then, once we ran the numbers on it, based on the numbers and what they say, then we're going to do the example email, and we're going to put the intent to offer. That's the game plan. Intent to offer. Everybody with me? So step 1 is we see the listing. Step 2 is we run the GRM. If it's 10 or lower, we'll run the numbers on it. After we run the numbers on it, we'll put an intent to offer in an email. Okay? Everybody good? Good. Well, the gross rent, they're going to list that. They're going to list that, Brittany. They're going to list the gross rent. They're going to tell you what the monthly rent is. And you're looking for the yearly rent. So, unless it's a residential property, if it's a residential property that they're selling as a residence and not as an investment property, they won't have that number. Okay? They might list it. The realtor might list it and say, look, for investment property, this is what the the rent in the area fetches, Does that make sense? Okay, a lot of the ones I'm looking at are not shown that way. Okay, how do you mean they're not shown that way? How are they shown, Brittany? What do you mean? They don't show the rents? Is that what you mean? Okay, so hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, okay? Let me give you something. Hold on 1 second. Show you something. Here, hold on. Okay, so let me show you something. This is a link that can help you find that information out. Go ahead. You can click on that, Brittany. Everybody, and anybody who doesn't have that, you should grab it. No problem. No problem. Yeah. So this will help you find the average rents in the area, and if you click on house, it'll do house, suite, townhouses, apartments, and this is the current listing, the numbers based on what's being listed, right? So that the rentalboard.ca is where it is, okay? Everybody good? Anybody need, understand, everybody got that, I hope? I mean, anybody need any help with that? No, we're good? Okay, any questions about anything tonight? Now that's what I wanted. The assignment is for the next 2 weeks to run through this process and do 1 email intent offer in the next 2 weeks. Okay, if it's there. If it's not, I don't want to force a deal. I don't want you to be afraid to do it either. Okay, obviously, if you need help, reach out. Any questions about any of that before we move on? We're good? Okay. So for the last few minutes, I'm opening up to any questions, general questions, for the rest of this session. Okay, we got a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions about anything else? I just want to stay focused on this particular task for the next few weeks. Okay, some people are typing. Any dates you will be streaming for summer? Will not be streaming for summer. For now, I'm okay. I have no dates that I'm going to knock out at this time. I think we're okay. I mean, we can loosen up in the summer if you want, because it's summer. We can go every other week, folks, if you like. It's totally up to you. But I'll let you know, obviously, if something comes up. As I know, something happens. Okay? If the closing cost is about 15,000 and we only get 100 a door, how do we justify profit? Take a long time to actually make profit. If the closing cost is about 15,000 and we only get 100 a door, how do we justify profit? Okay, so the cost of the transaction, and you're more than welcome to include that in the cost of transaction if you want, Vincent, to be more accurate in your numbers, that closing cost of 15,000 and show your return. Understand something, that the closing cost is all part of the cost of the, it's the price of business. So the 100 a door can take you a long time if you have one door, if you're making one door. And you got to remember, Vincent, that the 100 a door is after we pay all our expenses, right? Plus we stash away money for maintenance, vacancy, property management, stuff like that. So it's you can't. I mean, the cost of the house is the cost of the house. If you like, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you add the 15,000 to your purchase price to get your return on investment, it'll be nominal in the effect. To tell you the truth. You don't mean 15,000 a door, obviously, right, Vincent? Sure they do. I mean, that's all part of the purchase. That's all part of the purchase. Absolutely. So let's say it costs you 50,000 to buy a house, or 100, which it's not, but 100,000. It doesn't matter. That all goes into the purchase price. That's part of the money you're putting up to make money. So if you add $15,000 to the down payment of 5% that you're putting up, or 10%, or whatever you're putting up, you put those numbers all together, you run the return on investment, and you decide whether the property is at value. If you're looking for, looking at 100 a door, thinking, well, I need 100 a door, I need 1,500, 1,500 months to collect that if it's one door. You can absolutely look at it that way if you want, but I'm telling you that if you're investing in any investing, you can't look at how much money you put up and how long it's going to take me to get that back as you deciding whether to move forward. Obviously, that's what cap rate is supposed to do for you, right? Is how long will it take me to get my money if I paid cash for the property? But the fees are real. They do add up. This is real estate. There's no way this is why real estate, there's a cost of participating in real estate. You don't need a ton of money to close a purchase, but those fees, those costs, will absolutely affect your bottom line. But this is the price of doing business. It's like taxes. You can't avoid it. You have to pay it. You just got to make sure you're making more money than the cost of you participating in it, right? That's right. 1,500 months. That's right. If it was 100 a door, I'm sorry, 150 months. It was one door. It'd be 150 months. 1,500. So absolutely, Vincent, that's a real thing to consider, and you want to make sure that you add that into your numbers as you put together. But run it as a return on investment, right? Don't just look at the 15,000 and say, well, I'm not going to get my 15,000 until I get 150 months of $100 a door on this property. Typically, obviously, I hope Vincent, we wouldn't want to get 100 a door on a single unit, right? That'd be different. That'd be like a single family home. That wouldn't be a good idea for the risk taking on the single family home. But the cost of the purchase itself, and it's not bad to look at it the way you look at it, because you're recognizing, I think, you're asking the question, how much do I have to pay to make this money? Because that's really what real estate's all about. Any investment, when it comes to income, if I buy this property, if I put up this money, how much money will I get back? Whether this is applied to the stock market, real estate business, it doesn't matter. But the cost, certain transactions, in real estate, there's closing costs. In stock market, there's the broker fees. You can't get around that stuff. It's there, but you don't want to ignore it or pretend it doesn't exist. You have to recognize it for sure. Everybody should recognize that. That cost of ownership and the cost of participation, it's not cheap or low cost in real estate. It is what it is. Yeah, absolutely, it's a write-off. The cost, those transactions, the cost of running your business is a write-off. The expense of it all, right? The expenses are, and obviously you want to consult an accountant on, how to manage that and make that go through and let them do that kind of stuff. But the transaction itself, that's why you got to put all the numbers together and make sure that it's worth doing in the first place. The creative financing part really is how we make money in real estate. The property itself and the transaction, has to be overcome by the income that we make, or it's not worth doing. Does that answer your question, Vincent? What you're saying is absolutely right. You have to recognize that, and you have to add that into what you're putting up and what you're getting back. Yeah. I wish there was no cost, and there are people out there that are trying to reduce the cost of the transaction of real estate, and this is where you get the discounted brokerages out there selling real estate or doing real estate, telling people that you can do it for 1%. You pretty much get what you pay for, really, most of the time. I will say that, did anybody see or hear about 30-year mortgages coming back from CMHC? And also there was a story, there's the government now, they're going to lend 10% interest-free loans for purchases of new first-time buyers. Everybody see that? Yeah, that's happening. So the real estate market is struggling in Canada. So what the government decided to do, and they talked about this in the last budget, is offer first time home buyers up to 10% interest free loan. Yeah, an equity stake in the home. That's what they're saying, but really they don't care about the equity stake. It's more that they're trying to allow people to afford to buy. You know, is there a clarity? Is there a clarity? How do you pay off? What terms? Well, here, let me see. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. How about I send you the link? Hold on one sec. Okay. I'll give it to you right now, folks. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to post it right here. Hold on 1 sec. Yeah, but first-time home buyers is not really first-time home buyers, right? It's you know, I mean, I don't want to speak to the details of that, but for mortgage brokers, I mean, mortgage brokers, it's just really you buying a residence for yourself. It just means the 5% down. That first-time home buyers thing has been, I think, overused in what it means. I mean, it's really about a mortgage company for primary residence giving you 5% down payment. Hold on 1 sec. As soon as I can get all this stuff off. Sometimes, eh? Okay, so there's a video too. Well, look at that. Hold on 1 sec. There it is. If the house is old and I am first time buyer, it's only 5%. Well, I mean, it's if you're buying a primary residence for yourself, it's the lender that's deciding how much they want you to put down and how much they'll finance. CMHC insurance, right, is being paid regardless if you're paying it or they're paying it. They're saying that the CMH fee cost, the cost of the insurance of CMHC, when you're lower than 5%, lower than 20%, they want you to pay that insurance policy. But if you look at this article, the program basically does this. It says buyers must repay the incentive after 25 years or if the property is sold, and they can repay it at any time without any penalty. For example, a new house is purchased at $100,000 could qualify for 10% interest-free loan or $10,000. If the homeowner was later to sell for $110,000, the buyer would need to repay back $11,000. Basically, they get a stake in the property, a 10% stake in the property, and they'll take money if you make money, right? The government says the incentive that a home that is purchased for $480,000 would save around $3,327 a year on mortgage payment. What it's trying to do is trying to give you the ability to buy the house you want or more house, because you're only paying now, if it's $100,000, you're only getting a mortgage now, base minus your deposit of $90,000, right? So it's creating the ability for the prices to either, basically buying 10% more property. That's what you're doing because it's an interest-free loan. So you're not going to have to qualify for that 10%. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, that's right. CMHC is part of the less than 20% down. Yeah, that's right. CMHC is just an insurance company. There's more than just CMHC as an insurance company that insures mortgages. This article, just read it over. Read it over. Read it over. I mean, it's something to know. I mean, read it over, and there's a video there. I didn't play the video.
The difference between the ability and the willingness of that family to invest in the first time.
Yeah, listen to the video. There's a video. The video's like 8 minutes long, so check out the video, see what you think. But it's something you should know. See if you can make something of it. But basically, it's the government saying the market's in trouble. Let's help out. This negates the whole new rules for qualifying for mortgage. Pretty much negates it. Okay, sure, Nick. What's your question about expenses? I'll let Nick type while he's doing that. We got about 2 minutes left, folks. If there's any other questions, please let me know. When renting out property, what are the expenses that are borne by the owner? Basically, Nick, really that's up to you. It can be anything. If you're renting out your property, typically taxes and then house insurance and taxes and maintenance are by the homeowner. The renter usually pays for tenant insurance. They pay for their utilities, any bills that they have associated with the living expense, cable, internet. That's stuff they pay up. But really, it's up in the air. It's optional. You can do whatever you want. I mean, if two parties agree, as long as you're not violating the rules, the regulations mandated by the federal, provincial government or municipalities, you're fine. But typically, you're paying taxes, maintenance, and insurance. That's what. Sorry about that. Apologies. Lost connection for a second there. Okay. Any questions before we close up the meeting? We good? Everybody's good? I think that it would be planned to pay those depending on the property. You may want to cover building, hot water, heating, so the building owner pays the water bill. If you're the renter, obviously you'd love it to be inclusive. If you're the landlord, you don't want anything inclusive. That's typically the case because you want to control all your costs. So you don't want a variable cost like water or heating and stuff like that, because the price can go up and down. You can't really control your cash flow that way. Does that make sense? Good. Awesome. All right, everybody. It is 10:31. If you're good, type in yes or Y. My pleasure. Remember, folks, the commitment that we made. In the next couple weeks, we're going to run through some properties and we're going to put in the tent out, okay? Don't panic. If you need help, you can reach out to me, okay? But let's commit ourselves to putting out some offers in the next 30 days. That's the goal. My pleasure, folks. All right, everybody, have a great night. And if you need something, you reach out to me. Otherwise, good hunting. And I'll see you all next Tuesday.